What's up everyone, Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have an album review for you. So another one that I wanted to review, just because this band's fucking classic in every fucking sense, was the newest offering from Saxon, Carpe Diem. This comes out also on the 4th of February on Silver Lining Music. This band formed in 1978 in the UK, and actually they've been around before that under different monikers since 1970, so this is pretty fucking old school. In fact, this is their 24th fucking album. Holy shit, talk about staying power. And for those that don't know, these guys are legit OGs from the whole new wave of British heavy metal scene. Like, these guys actually predate Iron Maiden, and that is probably the band that everyone associates with that whole subset. Well, these guys have been kicking even longer, and they are back once again with, again, their 24th fucking album. That is insane. The youngest member of this band is 55 years old, and he's the new guy. The rest of these guys are in their late 60s and early 70s, and they are still rocking. In fact, I really didn't know what to expect going into this, because generally bands with long tenures, and just in terms of them putting out releases, sometimes they get tired towards the end. Sometimes they kind of dial it in, or they try something maybe a little bit more different, kind of calm it down. Iron Maiden. Anyway, Saxon apparently never got that message, because this album is way more energetic than I actually thought it would be. Once you get past the synthy lead-in and war drum sort of build up to the opening track and title track, you are greeted to a giant 80s metal wail, and this is coming from 71-year-old vocal cords and doing a damn good job. I was really pleased with Biff's vocal performance on this pretty much overall, but the main thing I hear on here is energy. The production is pretty modern, though I have to say it's really well mixed. I like the overall sound, and holy shit, these guitars have some serious crunch to them. Like, these are not just heavy for like heavy metal, these are kind of thrashy. Like, there's an extra kind of bite to them, and you definitely hear them kind of shine on different songs here, just in terms of like just bringing, well, heavy music you wouldn't expect for guys in their 70s. Like, this has some real bite to it. Songs like Age of Steam, Supernova, and Living on the Limit just sound sort of youthful, I guess. I don't know. They have so much energy to them, and like, you know, big D-beat sections, especially in Living on the Limit and Supernova, big chunky riffs, especially Age of Steam. That might be one of the heaviest tracks on there. The main riff to that just kind of carries this massive groovy stomp, and it's just a strong song. Like, it feels powerful. And of course you have like all the tropes that I generally like about heavy metal: big lead harmonies, solid solos left and right, and big anthemic choruses. And anthemic choruses is pretty much the feel across the board. There isn't a chorus on here where it feels like they're not at least, you know, shooting for the fucking stars in terms of just how big the song needs to be in the chorus. Now, not every chorus actually hits that star they're shooting for, but most of them land pretty damn close. And honestly, it's the intention, it's the energy. These guys don't sound tired on here. They still sound like they're full of piss and vinegar, maybe some Geritol, but mostly piss and vinegar. Songs like Remember the Fallen and Dam Busters, and yeah, some of these song titles are kind of generic, but the songs are pretty damn fun. Remember the Fallen might have one of the catchiest riffs in this entire album, and believe me, they make sure that riff sticks in your brain because it is repeated very often, and that is something I really like on this album. Not only do they lead in often with the chorus riff, they make sure that riff is like an anchor point. That is going to be the thing that repeats in your head, and that is going to be coupled with a really cool chorus. Remember the Fallen just lays on this riff, breaks up nicely for the verses with a really cool, like, just backing melody of just a few chords, while letting Biff do his thing, which his thing is still singing really fucking well, and then just hammers that chorus home, and that riff will be stuck in your head, much like it's still stuck in my head. And then Dam Busters has like fucking old school Motorhead energy to it. Like, there's a little bit of a sleazy rock swagger to the riffs, and like just a little bit of extra attitude, like, you know, well, young guy attitude. It's not like get the fuck off my lawn, you kids attitude. Like, it feels, again, young. Like, no part of this really sounded tired. And I hate to say it, but that was kind of what I expected. I mean, these guys have been around forever. This is their 24th fucking album. Like, that's an insane number of albums. Like, this is energy-wise on par with a lot of the more recent stuff from bands like Satan, of course, Judas Priest. This actually kind of feels similar to Firepower in a way. Hell, throw Armored Saint in there. Like, it feels revitalized. They don't feel like an old band on this one, and that's kind of tough to pull off because, again, there's a lot of older bands that, you know, after a while, they kind of get tired. I don't know what happened. Maybe the Fountain of Youth is somewhere in the UK and they used that water to make beer and did keg stands in a fucking castle or something. I'm really not in touch with the culture in the UK at all, but I don't know, like there's something about this album that just feels not like they're just kind of dialing it in. You get some old school sort of arena rockers with The Pilgrimage, which sounds like it's just an old school 80s stadium rocker. Big, clean, epic lead-in, giant riff that carries through with awesome vocals on top, and of course a giant chorus with the refrain of the title, which kind of gets old towards the end because they kind of lay on that refrain for a bit, but it's a solid song. And then Black is the Night, again, some of these song titles are but that song actually is not only just heavy, it's kind of dark. Like, it has a more sinister vibe. There's a cool galloping sort of breakdown riff to it. And it kind of couples that whole, like, empowered feeling, triumphant, whatever it is, with a little bit more dark, sinister energy. And then throws in a really cool bluesy solo, because why the fuck not? Now, while most of this is very invigorated by the band, like, you can definitely tell that they were all dialed in on this. The riffs were fucking heavy. There were loads of hooks. Biff turned in a hell of a vocal performance that, I mean, honestly, again, you hear tons of vocalists getting older, losing their voice. He's clearly taking good care of it. But there were some moments on there where it didn't necessarily all gel together. Lady in Grey, while it has, again, another badass riff that is just carrying the song, when it comes down to the vocal delivery, it feels a little bit weaker. Like, they kind of got Biff when he was a little tired and groggy. And they do a lot of doubling of his vocals pretty much all over the album, but here it's very apparent, and both of them don't really match up as well. And up until you get to the bridge, there really doesn't feel like there's a lot of energy behind any of the verses at all. But you get to the bridge, and he's soaring once again, and then it kind of goes back. I like the riff, I like the song, but this was one where maybe like doing a different vocal take or not doubling them so much probably would have benefited. And some of the synthy gothic choirs or whatever kind of choirs, they are kind of cheesy and they really don't add much to the song. Like, I know they're there to make them sound more epic, but I don't know, they just kind of come across as a little bit cheesy, but when you get to the bulk of the song, you pretty much forget they were there in the first place. And the only other complaint I really have is, I guess you could say this is paint by numbers, but it's a cool painting. Like, this is a paint by numbers for like a fucking sick Iron Maiden cover. Like, that's a painting I don't mind making, and honestly, it's the intention behind it. Like, again, the energy speaks for itself. They may have done variations of these riffs or these songs, or just, you know, kind of recapture the energy of an older album a little bit on this, but it's executed super well. And that was the main thing. I had a lot of fun listening to this. This was pretty much a pure joy almost across the board, just because it was great hearing these old veterans come out with something vibrant again. There's nothing wrong with the formula if the formula still works, and these guys still have a solid formula, and the formula fucking works, especially on this one. And that formula is executed with the conviction of a stubborn old man that won't do what you tell him because back in my day, and then you get the whole spiel after that. These are those old men, except they're way cooler. In fact, I hope I'm this cool when I'm 70. I doubt I will be because I'm not that cool right now, so my odds aren't very good, but these guys came out with a solid album and it really kind of surprised me here. So overall, I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars. I really dug this, and it kind of caught me off guard. I do think it is a little generic and, again, paint by numbers, but it's generic and paint by numbers in a fun way. Like, I get pure joy out of listening to these awesome riffs that they may or may not have played before, but they're fun. They still capture that old energy that they had on those early albums that I really enjoy. Granted, you know, they do sound like they're older, but they sound like they're not going fucking quietly. They're gonna go loud and kicking over shit and, well, probably on tour. Again, there's a lot of bands out there that release music well past their prime, and they're just doing it because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do. That apparently is not the case with Saxon. Saxon still fucking feels it, and it shows in the music. And honestly, it sounds heavier and maybe more energetic than a lot of like modern throwback heavy metal acts out there. This is absolutely killer, and I did not expect it. I really wasn't sure. I didn't want this to be bad at all because I do love Saxon, and I think they are underrated as hell. But exceeded my expectations, and honestly, I'm probably going to be jamming the hell out of this more. And if you're an old school Saxon fan, or you just like that sort of retro heavy metal sound and kind of wonder what those retro heavy metal bands have been listening to in terms of inspiration, it was probably this band. So definitely check this one out. Check out the other 23 releases if you have time. Set aside some time, like a week or two. I imagine most of it's worth it. I only have the early stuff, but I definitely want to get more Saxon and kind of work my way backwards from this one because I just want to hear it now. It isn't as though I really had any like dwindled faith in this band. I just didn't get any of their more recent releases, and now I feel like I should because this album whoops ass. So yeah, definitely check this one out. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there will be a link down below. And again, as for shirts, we have to wait for them to get finished. And when we get them, we will do a video showing off the new design. We're very excited about that. And of course, couple that with a giveaway because we are getting close to 10,000 subscribers. And, well, we got to do a giveaway because 10,000 subscribers is a huge number we never thought we'd get to, and it is all because of you guys. Thank you all so much. Again, waves of awkward thanks coming your way. Probably want to wipe yourself down. Or don't, you can just leave my thank yous dripping off your face if you want. That's up to you. But regardless, I want you to know you all fucking rule, and we will catch you later.